Dolph Lundgren was so dangerous that, during the filming of Rocky IV, Sylvester Stallone ended up in intensive care after a single punch caused his heart to swell against his ribcage. But why does nobody hit like Dolph Lundgren? What happened to Sylvester Stallone during the filming of Rocky IV was no ordinary accident. It was the result of putting two men face to face who wanted their fight to feel completely authentic. While filming the climactic final fight, Stallone made one very clear request to Dolph Lundgren: stop acting and start hitting as if it were a real fight. He wanted the rivalry between Rocky and Ivan Drago to look so brutal that audiences would forget they were watching a movie. Dolph accepted the challenge. At first, everything seemed to be going according to plan. They exchanged controlled punches while the cameras kept rolling. But during one take, Lundgren landed a powerful right hand squarely on Stallone's chest. The impact was so devastating that Stallone barely felt any pain at the time and simply kept filming as though nothing had happened. Hours later, he began having trouble breathing. The force of the punch had caused his heart to swell. The situation became so serious that he had to be airlifted from Canada to a hospital in California, where he spent several days in the intensive care unit under close medical supervision.
What results are those?
Whatever he hits, he destroys.
Years later, Stallone admitted that it was one of the hardest punches he had ever taken in his life, and that, for a moment, he truly believed something was seriously wrong. Dolph, on the other hand, never intended to hurt anyone. He simply possessed extraordinary physical power, and when he was asked to fight for real, that is exactly what he did. And that kind of power did not come by accident. It was the result of decades of training, competition, and a level of physical preparation that very few Hollywood actors could match. Because to understand why nobody hits like Dolph Lundgren, you first have to understand where that incredible power really came from. That same night, Stallone's blood pressure reportedly spiked to 260. The doctors told him that injuries like his were usually seen in high-speed head-on car crashes. His response was simple: close. Yeah, I crashed into something. A streetcar named Dolph Lundgren. Long before he became Drago, Dolph Lundgren was already used to fighting for real. His martial arts journey began when he was just 7 years old, experimenting with judo and Goju Ryu karate. But it was at the age of 14 that he discovered the discipline that would shape the rest of his life: Kyokushin, the demanding full-contact style founded by the legendary Masoyama. Unlike many other martial arts, Kyokushin is not about scoring points or throwing techniques into the air. You have to absorb real full-contact strikes, endure punishment, and keep moving forward. There, it does not matter who looks stronger. What matters is who truly is. Lundgren progressed at an extraordinary pace. After earning his first-degree black belt, he soon began representing Sweden in the world's most prestigious international competitions. He captained the Swedish Kyokushin national team, became the European heavyweight champion in 1980, and also won the prestigious British Open in consecutive years, facing the finest karate fighters in Europe in tournaments where it was common to fight several full-contact matches in a single day. Those who shared the tatami with him remember a competitor who was remarkably fast for his size. Standing nearly 2 meters tall, he used his exceptional reach to keep opponents under relentless pressure, combining devastating kicks with powerful straight punches that forced even far more experienced fighters onto the defensive. But what truly set him apart was his endurance. While others began to fade as the rounds wore on, Dolph maintained the same relentless intensity from the opening seconds to the final bell. That unwavering discipline shaped not only his fighting career, but also his mind. While competing at the highest level, he studied chemical engineering, earned a master's degree, and even received a scholarship to continue his education at the prestigious Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. He brought that same analytical mindset into the gym and the dojo, studying the biomechanics of every movement, planning each training session with mathematical precision, and preparing his body as though it were a scientific project. Even after becoming one of Hollywood's biggest action stars, he never abandoned that lifestyle. In 1998, he returned to his old dojo in Stockholm to take on one of Kyokushin's toughest challenges in pursuit of his third-degree black belt, the 20-man kumite. 20 consecutive fights, without rest, against fresh opponents, followed by several hours of rigorous technical examinations. He passed the test, proving that he remained an elite warrior, even after conquering Hollywood. That is why, when it came time to film an action scene, his punches never looked like acting. Standing nearly 2 meters tall and weighing well over 100 kilograms of pure muscle at his peak, every strike was backed by decades of real training and competition. He never had to exaggerate his movements to convince the audience. The power was already there. Everyone who worked with him agrees that he was always a disciplined and respectful professional. He never intended to hurt his co-stars. But everyone on set knew that if a scene demanded greater intensity, or if someone misjudged the distance, the line between movie fiction and the reality of a world-class champion could disappear in a fraction of a second. And that was the biggest difference between Dolph Lundgren and so many other action stars. He was not an actor who learned to fight for the movies. He was a real champion who, through a twist of fate, ended up conquering Hollywood. In 1979, while still a relatively inexperienced competitor without the officially required rank, Lundgren was selected to represent Sweden at the Second World Open Karate Tournament in Tokyo, the most demanding full-contact karate event in the world. To compete, every participant was required to be a black belt. Since Dolph had not yet earned that rank, he had to borrow a black belt simply to meet the minimum entry requirement and step onto the tatami. To everyone's surprise, the young Swede brutally knocked out his first 2 opponents. That earned him a showdown with the tournament favorite and eventual champion, the legendary Makoto Nakamura, a seasoned Japanese competitor whose years of experience far exceeded Dolph's. Against all expectations, the match turned into an all-out war. It went the full distance and required 2 extra overtime rounds before a winner could be decided. Nakamura was ultimately awarded the victory by the judges in a decision that many spectators in Tokyo considered heavily biased in favor of the hometown fighter. During the fight, the atmosphere in the Swedish corner was incredibly tense. Lundgren's own coach was furious, not with Dolph, but with what he believed were Nakamura's borderline tactics. At one point, in sheer frustration, he even urged Dolph to stop him with an illegal groin kick. Dolph refused. He chose to protect his honor instead. Lundgren lost the fight on the scorecards, but that battle became, in his own words, the turning point of his life. Even though I lost that fight, I realized that I could become a true champion too. Decades after Rocky IV, with more than 90 films to his name and a 4th-degree black belt earned through real competition, not movie choreography, one simple truth remains. Whenever Dolph Lundgren clenched his fist in front of a camera, no one, not even his closest friends, not even Rocky Balboa himself, could ever be completely certain that the punch would stay in the realm of fiction. Over the years, faster actors have come along, fighters with better records have emerged, champions with more titles have appeared. But very few have ever possessed the exact combination of qualities that turned Dolph Lundgren into an action movie legend. Because he was not just a giant of a man. He was not just a karate champion. He was the perfect combination of a full-contact competitor, an extraordinary athlete, and a physique that seemed tailor-made to play Hollywood's most intimidating villain. When Ivan Drago first appeared on screen in 1985, millions of people genuinely believed he could destroy Rocky. That feeling did not come from the acting alone. It did not come from the makeup or the camera angles. It came from the man behind the character, a man who had spent years training to hit for real. As time went on, Hollywood became increasingly dependent on digital effects, wire work, and rapid editing to make fight scenes look spectacular. Dolph belonged to a different generation, one where credibility depended on the actor, not the computer. Every punch had to be sold through technique, power, and precision. That is why, even today, whenever people talk about the most physically dangerous action stars, his name is still mentioned alongside legends like Jean-Claude Van Damme, Scott Adkins, and Donnie Yen. But Dolph always had something that set him apart from the rest. An absolutely extraordinary level of raw power. Because in the end, anyone can look strong in front of a camera. But very few can throw a punch powerful enough to convince even a champion. And that is exactly why, decades later, nobody hits like Dolph Lundgren. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, we have another one waiting for you right here.